Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 16 Global Diversity, Careers in Diversity, and Moving Forward. Our group members are Lindsay Thomas, Elizabeth Barker, Jessica Rubio, and Clarissa Rico. Today we will be presenting a PowerPoint over global diversity, careers in diversity, and how to move forward. And here we have our outline consisting of what we will be talking about in this PowerPoint. Key facts, objectives, introduction, types of diversity, global diversity, discrimination and differential treatment, careers in diversity, and of course, conclusions. Key facts, global diversity and careers in diversity. Diversity issues are global and exist in many countries around the world. Specific issues with diversity vary by location, but key indicators like differences in education and employment levels can identify non-dominant groups in a particular location. Diversity issues include discrimination based on sex, sexual orientation, disability, ethnicity, and other non-productive factors. Diversity in organizations is an unexpected aspect of societal changes and is increased or impeded by individual, organizational, and societal factors. Diversity in organizations also has an effect on society. The demand for careers doing diversity titled and diversity related work is increasing, providing increasing opportunities for those interested in the field. And here are some of the objectives. Examine global diversity. Explore careers doing diversity-related work. And analyze diversity issues that people encounter in their careers on a global aspect. And now for our introduction to global diversity. And here we have a short video that discusses inclusion in the workplace. Types of diversity. Diversity is defined as real or perceived differences among people in such areas such as ethnicity, race, sex, age, physical and mental ability, sexual orientation, religion, work and family status, weight, appearance, social class, and other identity-based attributes that affect their experiences, outcomes, and also their opportunities in organizations and society. Global diversity. Scholars and researchers outside of the United States have emphasized the limited relevance to other countries of the U.S. experience with diversity and how little diversity there is in diversity research. Yet, diversity as real or perceived differences among people that affect their experiences, outcomes, and opportunities in an organization and society is extremely relevant on a global scale. Discrimination, dominance, marginalization, and the colonization of people based on race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, religion, and gender identity and numerous other factors occur all over the world. From the viewpoint of power, discrimination, dominance, and control of resources, the fact that diversity issues are universal becomes clearer. As we investigate diversity from a global viewpoint, we maintain the perspective that diversity is increasingly inevitable and is of value to individuals, organizations, and society everywhere. And now we have some useful considerations when identifying non-dominant group members. Historical differential treatment, distribution of wealth, occupational levels, types, and representation in management and executive positions, employment, unemployment, and underemployment rates, participation rates, income and earning distributions, literacy, and educational attainment. A few more useful considerations: poverty rates, health and longevity, racial profiling and incarceration rates, residential and employment segregation, rates of intermarriage, legal protections, political participation, and voting rights. Discrimination and differential treatment. Differential treatment is a form of discrimination when certain groups are treated differently than others. In the employer context, differential treatment often can mean that an employer treats a group of employees differently from other groups because of specific characteristics that they are unable to change. For example, more senior employees may be closer with management due to the requirements of their jobs and therefore will receive different treatment than any entry-level employees. Benefits of eliminating discrimination. Eradicating discrimination would benefit individuals, organizations, society, and the economy. Organizations can benefit from by eliminating discrimination and valuing diversity. Ability to hire from a larger pool of workers, avoiding any lawsuits and boycotts, and can reduce poverty globally. Increase lifespans, build stronger and more successful economies. Benefits when eliminating discrimination can include increased productivity by utilizing a variety of ideas and processes, a broader range of skills among employees, improved cultural awareness, and a positive reputation. Sex, gender, and sexual orientation. Sexual harassment, segregation, discrimination, and other inequities are all common problems faced by women all over the world. Sex segregation of jobs is pervasive, and women are considerably less likely to be in high status or managerial positions than their proportions in the population, education, and workforce participation would suggest. Sex, gender, and sexual orientation. Here's a little overview. Legal discrimination and cultural norms contribute to women's low occupational status and at times low participation. Disparities in access to education and women's disproportionate share of home and childcare contribute to discrimination against women. In part, as a consequence of less education, women are less likely to be employed, and when employed, they tend to earn less than men worldwide. In addition, women work fewer hours than men and are more likely to live in poverty than men. On the other hand, even with similar or more education, women's earnings and status are generally lower than those of men. Regardless, women's education levels, individual and systematic discrimination contribute to their lower occupational status and earnings all over the world. Sexual harassment, segregation, discrimination, and other inequities. Sex discrimination, harassment, and segregation are all common problems faced by women globally. Women are less likely to be in high status or managerial positions. 45% of women say a major factor in the gender wage gap is the different choices women make regarding work and family life balance. Sexual harassment, segregation, discrimination, and other inequities. Sexual orientation and gender identity. Despite recent advances, people in this country are still being fired, targeted, and harassed at work, all because they are part of the LGBTQ community. There has been some progress over the past 20 years in the legal landscape and in the evolution of social opinions and attitudes related to an individual's gender or sexuality. Nonetheless, members of the LGBTQ community still suffer pernicious and blatant gender bias in all areas of private life and public, including housing, academic settings, employment. About 46% of LGBTQ workers have experienced unfair treatment at their workplace. LGBTQ have also reported having to change their behaviors to avoid any discrimination or harassment. LGBTQ employees of color were more likely to not be hired because of their sexual orientation or gender identity than white LGBTQ employees. Sex, gender, and sexual orientation. Population and participation rates. Due to the need for workers, lower birth rates, and changes in attitude towards women employment and in social policies concerning childcare, women are participating in the workforce at higher rates than ever before. Men's participation rates in the workplace are declining, which is allowing for the women's rates to increase. In some countries, women now participate at about 80% of the rate that men do. Population and participation rates. Women make up about 80% of the workplace. Changes in workforce, gender rates are changing due to lower birth rates and childcare policies. Over 8 million workers in the US alone identify as part of the LGBTQ community. Now we will discuss disabilities. Marginalized, disadvantaged, or vulnerable groups in society. Disabilities. Here's a little overview. Unemployment among disabled individuals is as high as 80% due to the assumption that they are unable to work. In some countries, they prohibit employment discrimination on the basis of disability. In 2022, 21.3% of persons with a disability were employed. Careers in diversity. Jobs related to the diversity, equity, and the inclusion field. Here are some careers in diversity. Diversity and inclusion manager, equality business partner, racial equity reporter, learning and development manager, community and diversity outreach manager. And here we have background requirements. 1. Bachelor's degree in human resources, management, public relations, multicultural studies, or social justice. 2nd, a graduate degree preferred. 3rd, 5+ years with diversity content development and facilitation experience. 4th, 5+ years of experience advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion priorities within an organization. And now for our conclusions, we have diversity benefits people and organizations. Diversity is an issue experienced globally. Diversity can improve cultural awareness and reputation of organizations. And careers in diversity and inclusion improve equity within organizations. Now, for the fun part. Let's test your knowledge and answer a few questions on the next slide. Question number 1. What key indicators can be used to identify non-dominant groups of specific diversity concerns? A. By looking around at your coworkers. B. People who have diversity in their job title. C. Employees who are in lower positions. Or D. Differences in education, employment levels, participation, etc. And the answer to number 1 is D. Differences in education, employment levels, participation, etc. Question number 2. What is discrimination based on? A. Sex and sexual orientation. B. Disabilities. C. Other non-productive factors exist in societies and organizations around the world. Or D. All of the above. Correct answer for number 2? D. All of the above. Sex and sexual orientation, disabilities, and other non-productive factors exist in societies and organizations around the world. Here we have an interactive activity on Quizlet. And lastly, we have our resources page. That is it for our PowerPoint. I hope this helps you to better understand Chapter 16. global diversity, careers in diversity, and moving forward. Thank you.